Hey guys.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good. I feel like I'm a post-practice talk here.
Hey, Coach.
Don't do that stuff no more.
Bill Bush told me that I do a radio show with him.
Bill Bush here?
No, he's not here.
Oh.
But he told me that you would direct the special teams meetings, that
Yep.
you handled that all the time, every stop. Why did you feel that was something that you should do?
Well, it's a long story, but when I was at Notre Dame, Bob Davie walked in and said, "You're the special teams coach." And I said, "I don't want to be the special teams coach. I want to draw plays." And I didn't tell him that, but he said, "And by the way, you better be really good at it." And he left the room, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so I went and studied from the NFL to college to Frank Beamer to Mike Stock to a bunch of other guys. And that's when I really understood the value of special teams. And from that point forward, for the next 20 years, I was a special teams coach. And I also felt, because I've been on staffs where like the head coach is all offense, he doesn't even know the defensive players. Same thing on defense. And special teams is a way to first make it important, second of all to get to know the players. So I loved it. I still love it.
Do you have any history with Kurt Cignetti at all?
You know, we don't really know each other. We spent time together recruiting, I believe, Philadelphia. I think I was at Notre Dame. I can't remember where he's at. So I know him very little, but I really admire the job he's done.
You've talked about just how mistake-free it seems like the film looks for Indiana. Like,
unbelievable.
What jumps off the page the most when you watch it?
I'm going to talk tomorrow about this. There's times I watch video and it's really hard to watch. There's other video I can't shut it down. And this was Indiana and a little bit Nebraska defense too. They don't make mistakes. You just see incredible execution. You see, minimal penalties, minimal turnovers, minimal mistakes, back shoulder throws. It's the best edge blocking, perimeter blocking team I've seen this year. And I'm going to show that in a playbook tomorrow. And that's coaching. And I admire well-coached teams, and I admire Indiana.
What is it about Nebraska's defense that jumps out?
Same thing. They're number one in the country in fewest big plays given up. You never see blown coverages. You never see mistakes. You see an excellent tackling team. Guys in football position with violent hands. And I talked to Coach Tony this week. Yeah, I said that last year. Early in the year, they had some turnovers, or they could have been undefeated last year with that defense. He's a hell of a coach.
Sorry. You know what big-time players are like, both from Coach Gibbon at Florida and Ohio State. Indiana's doing this mostly on the backs of a lot of transfers from the mid-level.
Yeah.
Does that make it all the more astonishing? And can they still compete with the Ohio States of the world?
Yeah, I think, and I used to really pound this into our coaching staff and myself, that there's certain programs that good players play great, and there's sometimes great players only play good. And what is that? That's a coach. That's coaching. And it would drive me out of my mind when we had a great player that didn't play great. That would drive me insane. But you see a good player plays great. That's really when you earn your stripes and paycheck as a coach. And Indiana's doing it on both sides of the ball, but also that's why this game is so intriguing to me. Can they beat, the five-star teams? They're going to find out here real soon. They got some of them coming up. They have to play perfect, because man for man, you got Oregon, you got Ohio State. They're a little bit higher right now, man for man. But the way they're playing, sure, they can beat them.
If you were coaching Bill and Raiola, what would you want to see from him here in the second half of the season?
I think his escapability is going to, the better the competition gets, I did a stat one time, is 65 to 70% of every time the quarterback takes a snap, there's mistakes. And it's not necessarily self-inflicted. It means you're blocking Joey Bosa. And you got to reset your feet and deliver the ball. He's young. He's got all the talent in the world. Can he get out of a jam and reset his feet against elite competition?
Coach, you've been here multiple times throughout your coaching career. Did you ever think that you would see a 6-0 Indiana team playing on a nationally televised game?
I'm going to call Indiana the enigma of college football because it's a beautiful place. I remember last year, I'd never been here, but we were here last year, a couple years ago. I walked around the campus, beautiful. You have pretty good high school quality high school football in Indianapolis and around there, and yet it's the worst. Losing this program in the Big Ten. Bill Mallory, who was a big Ohio State coach at Ohio State, he's the winningest coach here. He only won 5 games a year, and that doesn't equate when you look at this place. So I know Kevin Wilson was here and did a pretty good job, but just was hard to maintain. Tom Allen did a good job, but hard to maintain. And this guy, I hope he pumps some life into it. That's good for the Big Ten at the school. They deserve it. I'm hoping this happens.
Is there anything in particular that Matt Rule's doing, Coach, that impresses you with in building that program? Anything that you notice?
Yeah, he's a guy that I don't know real well, but we kind of studied each other, and I've studied him. And I love turnaround guys that take bottom feeders and he turns it around. And I always hear him speak of culture. I watch some of the videos just because I'm into that kind of stuff about building cultures, and I think he's done it's a time-tested commodity with Coach Rule.
I'm sorry. What are your impressions of Rourke and why he's been able to be successful?
I talked to Tony about that, Tony White. He coached against him when he was at Ohio University, and I guess he was more of an option quarterback, and then he got hurt. And I didn't know all this. I'm glad he told me. Then he had an ACL, and so now he's more of a quarterback, and you can tell he's worked on his game. And Coach White, who coached against him, says his progression as a passer is phenomenal.
You were talking about culture's a time-tested commodity. Can you finish that thought?
Coach Rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time-tested. He coached, what did he do? Temple, then Baylor, then here. I think that's the 3 stops he's had. Then he went to the NFL, but he took over Baylor that was awful and flipped them by year 3. Temple, if I remember right, was awful and then flipped them by year 3. And he's on schedule. But we're going to find that the 2 teams, their schedules are going to start to get a little more rugged.
What does it mean for college football to see teams like Army, Navy, Indiana up into the top 25 and being a serious member of the conversation?
Well, Brady talked about it today, is that you hear a lot of negatives about the transfer portal. There's also some really cool positive things. I'm sure James Madison, I don't know their record, but oh, good. So they rebounded too because they took half their team up here.
They put 70 on North Carolina.
Oh, that's right. With the new coach, right? Yeah. So they must have stole from someone else. I can't believe this is going on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that. Thank you.